So, thank you for coming on to the podcast. And like I do every week, I'm just going to explain how we're going to start and how it's going to work. So, the reason for the podcast and the idea behind it is we are explaining to all the people that are joining the industry or part of it that aren't quite as far as they want to be, and giving them an idea on other people's past, how they've got to where they are, why they've done it, and sort of a brief explanation. So we'll ask you a bunch of questions, and hopefully it'll help somebody somewhere understand how. But it's also pretty interesting to hear everybody's story too.
Awesome, sounds good.
Sweet. Okay, we can get started then.
All right, Neil. Obviously, this is going to be quite fresh in your mind. But what got you into the industry and led to you starting Pitstop?
So it's actually quite a long story. So I'll start back over 10 years ago. But I was never really into fitness, never really into sports. I was always a bit of a gamer, and that was kind of my focus more than getting into the gym. But in 2009, I was involved in a motorbike accident. At that point, I was at college, trying to do a course in IT. Didn't really know what I wanted to do in life, but was involved in a motorbike accident. Nearly lost my leg. I broke my leg in 6 places. I broke my hip. I lost my kneecap. And it was pretty bad. I was bedbound for over 12 months. And I had multiple operations, and they thought at the time I nearly lost my leg and I might not be able to walk again. Obviously I managed to get into a situation where I was starting to do rehab. My leg was actually, once I managed to get back on my feet, they realised that my leg was 2 inches shorter than it was before the accident. So they had to, when they did my hip replacement, they extended my leg so that I didn't have such a bad limp, it's quite amazing. I've been through the wars, and as I got sort of back on my feet and I realised that I had to go and do rehab and get fit again, I was like, I need to do what the best I can to recover from this, and I came across somebody called Greg Plitt, who at that point of time was a fitness model. He unfortunately passed away in an accident a couple of years after this, but his videos and his motivation showed me that I can get into the gym, I can get fit, I can rehab from this. And it was that was kind of my focus, is to get in and start getting fit again and trying to get back to a bit of a normal life. I had a good friend of mine at the time who was a PT, and he gave me advice on nutrition, what to do in the gym. I had to obviously be careful what I was doing with my leg. So for the first few years of being in the gym, I did no lower body. It was all upper body workouts. I've still not able to run or do anything that's got a lot of pressure on my knee. But I was doing upper body workouts, and I loved it. I got right into it. I liked the nutrition side of things. I loved going to the gym, and then as things kind of progressed and I got back onto my feet, life got up again. I ended up starting a couple businesses that sort of grew arms and legs, and then before I know it, I'm 6 years after my accident, and I'm back into the old ways of eating bad food, not being at the gym, kind of just that whole side of things that I was so focused on and loved so much kind of just went by the wayside. And then at the start of lockdown, I kind of took a step back from my business now that people were working from home, and I sort of had a good think, and I realised that I wasn't overly happy doing the job that I was doing. I was earning a decent salary, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. Wasn't really what I had a huge passion for. And I decided at that point, without realising that the first lockdown was going to be for so long and so hard on people, I decided to split ways with my business partner and take a bit of time out and figure out what I was going to do next. Obviously lockdown took place, and nobody wanted to sort of talk about starting businesses or hiring anybody or anything like that. So I took a bit of time out. At that point, my girlfriend Suzanne had been furloughed from her job, and she decided at this point that she was going to use this time to get fit, get back into some fitness, and she decided to sign up to an online coach. So she signed up to a girl called Nadia, who's awesome, and she's been a huge help and support to my girlfriend, and just understanding everything about nutrition. And I think you always hear, you know, people when they get into they think that eating less food is the way to lose weight and stuff like that, and it's you know, it's so not. And I think you know, that really helped Suzanne understand what to do. So she followed the macros, she started doing home workouts, and she saw a lot of progression, and you know, she was in a better place from it. And I decided that if I was going to take some time out, fitness and nutrition is just the perfect thing that I should be going and doing. So Nadia actually recommended Ryan Kirkham, who's the coach that I'm with now, and I signed up to him. I think it was March, April time, just coming up to around about a year. This time last year, and you know, it was great. We set out the macros. We went straight into a cut. And I kind of take these things quite seriously, so I got right into following the calories, understanding the macros, getting into the home workouts. Lucky enough, I had some equipment in the garage that we could both use, and made some great progress from it. I think I've lost nearly 2 stone since starting with Ryan, which a year ago. Feeling really good, put on a lot of muscle, and I just realised that I love it. I just love everything about it. I love the industry. I love the people like you guys that, you know, that I've met on the journey who are passionate about it and wanting to help everyone. And I kind of realised at the end of last year that I wanted to stay in the industry. I didn't want to go back and do a job in another industry that I wasn't that happy in. And I'm quite entrepreneurial, you know. I like to think what can I go and do, and what can I go and start up myself. And I loved everything about the food side of things. I loved, and I've talked to you guys about this before, but I love like the low calorie sauces and the things that I can sort of help with my sweet tooth, and that I don't, because I binge really badly. So, you know, what can I have that can sort of stop that from happening? And I came across all these brands in the last year that have really helped me on my journey. So I was like, I could maybe set up an online shop here, sell some of these products, sell some sports nutritional supplements as well that I've used, some good protein brands, some EAA brands, pre-workout brands, and I can try and put across brands that I've used that have put me on this journey, that I've tried myself, that I recommend, and see if I can get people interested in them as well. And that's kind of where Pitstop came from. You know, I originally started with a small range of products, and started growing them. Then as I get people eyes on the site, I want people's recommendations, you know, on the brands that they want and stuff, and that's kind of where everything came from.
Yeah.
What was the origin of the name Pitstop? Because to me, that's almost like a motorsport origin rather than like a fitness origin. Or is it more like pit stop as in stop here to get what? Is that the thinking behind it?
I think that the thinking behind it is you take a, you know, because originally it did come from the food side of things. It did come from the snacks and the food side of things. So I guess taking a break, taking a bit of a pit stop, having a snack, and then sort of getting back onto your journey is kind of the thinking behind it.
I mean, it makes sense. It's good branding. We spoke about this before as well. The fact that you've done the website, you've also got all of the advertising on social media, that sort of thing as well. I think it's really good.
I mean, my previous business was a marketing business, so I've got the experience of being in that industry, knowing how to pull together the assets, how to get the branding together and things like that. So use my experience to sort of bring it all together, and use my network of people as well in terms of helping me get the graphics and the logos done and things like that.
It's commendable.
Yeah, I think with us, the logos, I was using Fiverr, which seemed to be, obviously you get a lot of freelance artists on there kind of thing. And that kind of has worked out for us for like logos and stuff like that. Obviously I edit them slightly and maybe add wee things that I thought maybe, like, we've actually got a new logo coming out probably maybe tonight, tomorrow.
Just some tweaks to, and as everyone does in business, you add the tweaks and the little things that you think, obviously not maybe as quickly as others, and some maybe, might have the same logo for 2-3 years, but even McDonald's, they tweak it very slightly and add, and it's still the same one that you've always remembered, but it's just adding those bits and pieces in. So, but yours is a recognizable, easy to sort of digest logo and theme, which is exactly what you need, really, especially at the moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of these things are trial and error as well. You've got to put it out there and get feedback and see what people think, and then realize, it's the small things as well. But it might look nice on a website, but it might not sit too nice on a protein shaker, or it might not sit too nice on a bit of documentation or something like that. So yeah.
No, it's we definitely like it. We're fans of that. So you're doing a good job there. I'm sure other people are as well.
I think we might need to re-edit come like next month, that logo, because the beard's going to be coming off for me and it's going to be the Tash scheme. So I might need a re-edit of that logo.
Yeah, I got jealous of the beard and I've grown mine, but now maybe I might shave it off and go for the Tash as well, because you saw mine and that's the only reason you're going for the Tash.
I grew my beard out over the first lockdown. I had quite a decent beard, but I think I'm going to keep it short moving forward.
Yeah, I liked my Gandalf when I had down to about here, but obviously girlfriends have a choice and have their opinions. So
okay, so I'm gonna turn this question into a two-pronged question. Okay, the first one is, which brand, as in similar, which similar company to yours did you like before you started your
own? I think so. I obviously did my own research. I mean, I've got the shops that I purchased from, like Cardiff Sports Nutrition is an amazing website. They've literally stock every single product you could think of, from the supplement side to the food and nutrition side. And I came across a lot of the brands on their site. They've got a really good Walden Farms range, and a lot of they're the products that I really found. Having oats in the morning, and I can't put on enough low calorie syrups and stuff like that. It helps me get my sweet tooth. So Cardiff Sports Nutrition, absolutely great brand. And I love the fact they've got their own supplements now, and their cream of rice, and they've got pre-workouts and different vitamins and things like that as well. And then my go-to site that I bought my supplements was Insight Subs. Again, amazing range, and Danny's been very helpful in terms of giving me some advice and what brands I should be looking to put on, and everything from understanding the flavors. I mean, some products have got so many flavors, but you might not know which ones are actually popular. One thing that I realized is you might like a certain brand and a certain product, a certain flavor, but it might not be what's popular. It might not be what other people like. So it's just about a bit of trial and error as well.
Yeah, and I can understand that completely. You've got to find your fast-moving lines. Your fast-moving lines might not be the same as somebody else's fast-moving line as well.
Yeah.
And although it might be popular within one certain industry, so within bodybuilding, it may be that people like the chocolate brownie batter flavored protein, but then You know, in CrossFit, it might be that they all like the sweet, fruity flavors, and it kind of, you've always got to be out and wary for that. I guess you've got to find your own fast movers.
And with some flavours, like so obviously me and you, Neil, are up north, in the Great Glasgow. So like something like an Iron Brew flavour, some product would probably go down like a pure treat here.
And I would never touch that ever.
Oh, you should. Like Team Affinity, they had their hydration formula, which was Iron Brew. It was almost like flat Iron Brew, which is actually tastes nice to me. But but if somebody came out with like a protein bar that was Iron Brew flavoured, I think the position of you being up in Scotland, it would probably be able to get marketed a lot easier and probably sell a lot faster, just because we're so associated with that sort of thing.
Certain areas as well, yeah, for sure.
He's got, I'm pretty sure, I'm sure Danny would be able to tell you this, but I'm pretty sure his most popular perform flavour is cinnamon donut or chocolate brownie batter.
I've got both of them.
But
I've got chocolate brownie batter to have tonight with my yogurt, so I'm looking forward to that.
Lemon cheesecake and blueberry muffin have been by far the best sellers for us though since we've launched.
I had a sample of the carrot cake, and
I've got one of those as well.
I will say, if you're on a prep like you, Tom, it smells and tastes exactly like a blended carrot cake. So it's like you can tell the difference between the actual carrot part and the icing. Like you can smell the icing and slightly taste it as well. So like that sort of thing, it's like you don't get that very often. You know what I mean? Usually one thing overpowers.
Usually protein, and I'm going to be honest with this. Usually protein powders taste like shit. To be honest with you, you know, over the years I've had loads of different ones from loads of different places, and it's not very often that I find one that I actually really like. The peanut butter one that I've had from before, I really like it. So I know that I like the others because it's clear that's how they flavour them. I mean, last year I was having unflavoured 97% ISO whey from bulk powders, mixed in with the powdered gluten-free oats. And to be honest with you, I can't do it any longer. I put flavour drops in and it helps to a degree. I mean, at one point I was putting cocoa powder in just to add a little bit of flavour, but it was still better than, you know, like my protein, that sort of stuff. The only one I've ever had that I actually enjoyed the taste of, other than the ones I've got now, fortunately, was the Redcon one stuff.
Yeah.
And I know it's like a mass-produced brand and whatever, but I do think some of the products are nice. And I do like the advertising more than anything. I put a story on Instagram the other day. I bought fucking coffee from Starbucks. I don't even drink coffee, but it just looked so nice on the thing. And I was like, it's less than 100 calories, you know. I'll give it a go. No, never.
Well, I was actually an affiliate of Redcon back in 2018.
The tier operator.
Yeah. Again, the only thing was hard to get. People were getting all these codes and that, and you were like, it was hard to. There was a lot of people kind of trying to sprung out from the crowd. It was very hard in that market kind of thing. That's why
the problem with that is you've got the big guys like James Hollinshead and people like that have got more % off than you have. So why would anyone use your code if they can use somebody else's who's famous just to use that? So, you know, it is what it is on that one. But it's an interesting backstory though, Neil. I think the way that it's all come about, and definitely that you like, you know, those different online websites and you've used, and obviously Danny from Insight, a bit of backup. The other side to that question, what's your favourite product line?
I think well, when I first, I mean, the idea of what Pitstop was, as I say, was the food and snack side of things. Yeah. So I'm still very passionate about that, and I still have these products every day. I love skinny syrups. I like a lot of people don't like artificial tasting, you know, sauces and things like that. I can't get enough of it. I love low calorie sauces. CaloFit sauces is is one of my favorites. They've got a great range, salted caramels, syrups, and then they've got a savoury smoky barbecue range and things like that. So I still love that side of things because that's still what I'm using every day. You know, I'm still reaching for a protein bar, and I'm still going for the powdered peanut butter. Is was like what people like.
Don't do that to me.
It's still, the thing is, I mean, people, I don't think enough people have tried it yet, but like your powdered peanut butters is, if you like peanut butter and you can have a product that's got considerably less fat in it and it's still got good protein in it, it's great. You can make it up to the consistency you want by adding a little bit of water, and you've got a really good product. I think probably for me though, I think probably my favorite range on the supplement side is I'm really interested in pre-workouts that are non-stimulant, the nootropics, the pumps. I think there's some amazing products coming out there at the moment that have both of them in them. I'm not a huge stim person myself, but having the non-stims, especially with good nootropics in it, I feel like I can get just a gooder workout and just as good focus from it than a stimulant, for sure.
It's actually very rare I actually use stimulants. We've had that conversation, Neil. Like I just find, apart from if I'm training legs early-ish, like before 12, I'll maybe take a stimulant just so that extra because of the type of session, but I tend to just stay away from even tea, coffee. I don't really drink them at all. I just go pure caffeine free everything.
See, I use stimulants on leg days or like a heavy back day because I don't like to use a pump product on those days because I find that it restricts what I can do. And on an arm day, I use both together because I like a bit of a pump, and I also like to know that I can pour it. But that's just me. I like to, but I also spend a week or two without having one at all because I used to drink Monster Energy drink daily, probably 2-3 a day, to be honest with you. At one point I was really addicted to it, so I find that my tolerance is quite high. So if I use pre-workout every workout for 2 or 3 weeks, I find that it doesn't really affect me anymore. So I probably use it 2 or 3 times a week, and then might have a week or two off and then start again. I don't use it every workout, not anymore anyway.
Plus, I think a lot of people haven't realised that high caffeine doesn't mean high performance. Like there is a level that it stops being beneficial. We talked to Rich about this. There's actually been scientific research into it, and there's a lot of supplement brands. A lot of brands, even like Hostel, like we mentioned earlier, don't go above a certain milligram of stimulant total, like not just like 300 milligrams of caffeine and then I get extra, but like total stimulants, because the benefits of it just are basically none and void.
I tend to find, me personally, when I take a pre-workout, a non-stimulant that's got nootropic in it, I put in, when the gyms are open, but I put in a pair of headphones and I just get on with my workout. I tend to get enough of motivation and momentum to just get stuck into it. Like I don't feel halfway through the workout that I'm flagging, or I need to go and open a can of Monster or something like that to give me some an energy boost. So I like them. I'm really interested to see where the market's going to go with it, because obviously you've got Strom have brought out Clean Kill, which does have caffeine in it, but again, has a focused based product, which I've had lots of good feedback from people that take it as well. And then you've got other products like Nova Farm that do Nova Pump Neuro, Naughty Boy Sick Pumps Energy. These are great products.
Yeah, I think it's a growing market, isn't it? Because there is, and has been for some time, people like yourselves that don't like stimulants, don't like them after a certain time, or just don't particularly want to use them. So I think the fact that the market's ever growing on that side of non-stim pre-workout, where it's more of a focus-based or pump-based, then I think it's only going to grow and get better from there.
Yeah,
I think there is some really strong stimulant stuff as well. And like Rich was saying on the podcast yesterday, which will come out in a couple of days, there's some that definitely have more in certain products than it says on the label, but they're just getting away with it because they're not as big of a brand. And it gives you what you need, but it just it can make people feel bit crap, really. I've had pre-workouts before that I've had a headache the whole way through, and I don't mean just like a little buzz. I mean like full on head splitting headache, and it just, what was the point? You ruined my workout.
I get a lot of messages of people asking like recommendations and things like that, and probably the biggest thing people say about wanting to not take stimulant pre-workouts is the crash. You know, they've had an experience in the past, and they just don't want to, you know, and it might not happen every time you take it or whatever, but they just don't want to. They think that's just common, you know, and they just don't want to have that experience.
It's also like with me, like if I take a pre-workout that's maybe like even middle of the ground, I find myself worrying about going that I haven't got to the toilet when I'm in the middle of a workout, just because it's the stimulants have just stimulated something that shouldn't have been stimulated, you know.
Yeah. I've got a strong constitution, so I don't get that problem, but I did to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually going to skip the next question we have on it because I don't feel it's. I think we've covered quite a lot there, Tom.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Yeah.
I agree with that, yeah.
Neil, I've got 3 options of in a fantasy world what would be the best thing and the thing you would actually go into and give your whole heart if you could. Strongman, powerlifting, or bodybuilding. If you can roll back the clock, like pre-accident stuff like that, but same mindset, what one would you want to get into from the start?
I think probably bodybuilding. I mean, I think the strongman stuff actually is great. I love watching. I love watching it and seeing what these guys can do. It's amazing what they can do. I think now that I have a good understanding of what is involved with a bodybuilder and what they have to go through to be able to go and compete and things like that, it's amazing. I mean, I take my hat off to anyone that's got the motivation and the focus to maintain that, you know, through a prep and things like that. I think the one like going back to Greg Plitt that I mentioned before, he was a fitness model. He fairly ripped and was in great shape, and that was kind of the first person that I was like, that's a physique that I would like to get into myself, you know, that type of thing. And he never did compete, but you know, that type of physique is probably more of the physique that I would like to get into.
For me, I think it was Arnold in Commando. We skinny Scottish guy, like.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what these guys can go and achieve. I understand. I mean, I'm going and training 3-4 times a week, and my diet's on point, and you know, but to go to the level that these guys are going to do, putting through their body, you know, it's amazing. You know, it's
that, and particularly that's the reason why I like it. I think, obviously, weight loss was a massive thing for me, and always wanted to look good in the same vein as with yourself. I think I bought a set of York weights pre anything. This is like when I was still massive and still eating, you know, kebabs and drinking 3 full sugar monsters every day and all that sort of thing. And I mean, daily I was having like kebabs, pizzas, everything, and I loved it as well. That's the worst part. And I smoked, I drank, I did drugs. So literally, I was just filling my face with anything I could consume in any way. But I remember I bought this set of York weights because I thought, I really like to have some biceps. And I remember Netflix has only really just become a thing in the past 12 months, and we'd actually paid for it. And I put pumping iron on just one day, sat with my brother-in-law. I was fixated from start to finish, could not believe it. And Arnie was there, and the number one inspiration was Franco Columbo, because I've always been quite short in all my friendship circles. And I thought, this guy is literally lifting the same weight as every single other person in the whole gym, and he's tiny and he's still doing it, and he looks fucking ace. And that was pre everything. So that was like pre 10K runs, pre weight loss, pre, start to finish. And at that point, I knew that one day I would have loved to have started the gym when I was 16. I remember thinking to myself, I wish I'd started when I was a kid, thinking it was too late. And at that point I was 20, 21. And now obviously it's taken a bit longer. I'm at 28 and I'm going to be doing it this year, but I agree. You sort of get those motivations, but I think strongman looks, and we said this to Rick yesterday as well, strongman looks ace. I'd love to compete, but I would just eat crap the whole way through. I wouldn't be able to maintain the clean diet, and I'd make myself sick, and I'd also look like shit. And unfortunately, my head couldn't deal with looking that way. Powerlifting.
I think strongman, it's like a modern PT Barnum's, isn't it? It's like you're looking for the freak shows kind of thing. You're looking for the hat fours or the I can't remember his name, but he was the mohawk, you know what I mean, the colourful mohawk and colourful trousers, and then you've got like your guys like Brian Shaw, who are just ridiculous size.
Yeah.
So that's always, like I was saying to Rick yesterday, I could say to my 84-year-old granny who's never been out of Glasgow, what strongman should probably be able to say, oh, the big guys who Scandinavia love the heavy things. You know what I mean? Whereas powerlifting bodybuilding is very, you'd maybe say Arnold, maybe, but like
strongman's a little bit vanilla. I think that's probably the way of saying it for the normal population, for people that don't.
For Britain anyway, because we always seen it at Christmas. Always.
I think it's the easy to enter in your mind sort of thing. It's the, oh, well, I've seen people do this, and all they're doing is picking up weights. Whereas powerlifting, you see them wearing the suits, the belts, and they've got everything else going on. And then bodybuilding, people are going down to body fat levels that we were never designed to get to, and doing things that are just out of this world.
It is amazing, and I guess just to touch on something that you said, Tom, as well, was that like I'm going to be 38 this year, and I did the same thing. I've got regrets that my younger days of taking drugs, eating rubbish, going out and drinking, all these things. I never looked after my body. I'm 5'6", and I think at one point I was just short of 16 stone at my heaviest. And I regret now that I'm involved in fitness and enjoying the nutrition and down to a reasonable weight. I really regret what I did in the younger days. I regret that I abused my body to that level. I mean, people you laugh when you think about it, but like there was times when I had real bad binges on food, like I would just demolish pizzas and sweets and things like that. And people always used to laugh at me in the office when, at Christmas time, people had chocolates on their desk. I would go around to talk to someone at their desk, and I would just start taking the celebrations one at a time. And like, I'm not even saying this to be funny on the podcast or whatever.
No.
I would literally be standing there for 5 minutes, and I'd be shoveling these celebrations or whatever into my mouth, and I'd look down and I'd literally gone through 20 of them. I'm already opening the next one before I've finished the one in my mouth, and it's definitely a regret now that if you go and start young enough and you go and put these things in motion, what you can go and achieve. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, we can all go and still achieve great things, in the age that we're doing now, but we've not given ourselves any helping hand at doing what we've done, abusing our body and stuff in the previous days.
I do feel, with me, obviously I'm opposite end of the scale from you and Tom, Neil. Like, I was 7.5 stone until I was about 17, 18. So it's like I've had about 7 of the York weight sets that you were talking about, Tom. I wish I still had them. I'd make a mint in lockdown. But it's just like, I wish 10 years ago I had the same motivations I do now, kind of thing. Like, that always was my biggest fault, was motivation. And I think obviously 10 years ago there wasn't the Josh Bridgmans, there wasn't the Danny from Insight. So you've not got that outside influence that is good. Like, you'd go into a gym, and it'd maybe be a pure gym, or it'd be a council run gym that weren't great, that you just fall in and out of, which I think is quite common for a lot of people. But I think nowadays there's a lot more people being self-motivated and being motivated by these people that aren't out of the reach. They're very, very welcoming, very, very down to earth. And it's not like, we used the example in a previous podcast, is I couldn't message Ronaldo and have a 20-minute conversation with him, but I've actually done that with, like, so I've had a to and fro conversation with like Fuad or Guy Sustanino, or, you know what I mean? So like, it seems like everybody's within a reach.
Yeah.
And these people, like, this amazing thing about the industry is that these people are happy to help. You know, obviously, you know, people are making a living out of it. There's only so much advice that someone will give you, but it's a great industry. Everybody really cares about everybody and wants to help make sure that you get where you want to with it. And I think lockdown's been really interesting for me, and actually it's had a lot of positives out of it, because I've gone back onto the fitness journey and I've started a business, and I'm really happy with what's come out of it. But I also and I love my friends, and I love all the people around me as well. But actually being in lockdown and being restricted to seeing people and going out to these restaurants with your friends and all that has really put my focus on doing the best that I could over the last year. And I think you know, I know everybody's excited to get back into normality, and you know, just like I am as well. But I'm kind of nervous as well at the same time of going back into restaurants and how am I going to track my food, and there's all that side of things that nobody's kind of talked about yet, you know, because it's going to
You're
happen.
a competition like I am, and then you can't do any of that stuff anyway. Everyone's like, let's go out clubbing, let's go and enjoy a restaurant, and I'm like, nope.
I had a similar problem to that, Neil. After the first lockdown, I went up to the fort up in Easterhouse, which isn't far from us. And it's like, with seeing the amount of people, I literally had palpitations, which I've never had anything like that. But I was literally like hesitant because of the amount of people round about, and then it's almost because of all the scaremongering. And I have witnessed and family members succumb to the current epidemic, but it's like there's going to be a certain amount of people that will not go to restaurants after this. They'll not do this. It's going to turn a lot of people into hermits and germaphobes, I think, just because of the sheer scope of it.
Yeah.
And I do think it'll hamper a lot of people, especially with gyms and stuff like that, even though there's not been a big influx from gyms, but people think gyms is dirty places, and it's just,
I think people think everywhere's dirty.
Yeah.
I'm happy to keep a mask on and stay 2 meters away from people inside shops and stuff forever. It doesn't bother me. I'm not bothered at all. I actually think that it's a better way of living, you know. I know some people want to take their masks off and don't want to wear them, whatever else, and that's fine, but I'll probably carry on, honestly.
The only difference with me during this past year and normally is I couldn't go to the gym and I couldn't go to lunch with my dad every now and again. That's the only difference. It's like I basically am antisocial most of the time, so it's not really a big hit for me.
This might be something that you might ask me like later in the podcast as well. But the one thing that's always been a pet hate of mine is like people cleaning equipment and things, people not cleaning equipments in gyms and stuff like that. But actually now, you know, in between the lockdowns when the gyms were open, everybody was wiping down the equipment after they used it and putting things back and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely
a positive.
There's going to be.
I think you're right, and I think there is some positives. And you know, I think Neil, you've sort of hit the nail on the head there. That for you, actually, although you're looking forward to everything open back up, there's also an element of, well, I'm quite enjoying how my life is now. So, and you know, I feel part of me feels the same because I can still train, and obviously unlike you guys, which, well, I know you can a little bit, Neil, but Jason can't as much. I can still train. I can still train, but the positives for me are I can eat bang on the times I want to eat. When I'm not working in the office, which I am at the moment because I've not been able to visit people, I'm out on the road and I'm staying in hotels, and it becomes very difficult to follow that plan and carry on the way it is. You know, I know for a fact that when I go back out on the road, which will probably be a month or two before my show, I'm going to have to take protein with me and only have protein powder for the first 2, maybe 3 meals while I'm gone, because there's nothing else I can eat that I can store overnight, in my car, in my suitcase or whatever. So there is an element of it that I'm not looking forward to going back to normal, as much as sometimes I am as well. I'd like to.
You could probably get like one of the coolers.
I've tried it, but it just doesn't keep.
Yeah. Sometimes hotels will like, if it's not a minibar and it's just like a general fridge in the room, they may actually help you out with maybe a bigger one if needed, if it's something that you just chance your arm with it, see how you get on.
I'd be all right with I need a microwave, and trying to cook egg whites in a microwave in a services, I can imagine will be the most horrendous experience of my life, because it's bad enough at work because people hate the smell of egg whites when they've been cooked in a microwave, and I don't blame them because it smells like shit, but it's necessary, and that's just what it is. It's part of the diet, and that's how we go. But okay, that's sweet. I've got one for you. Where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 years?
Me personally.
Personally, and Pitstop.
Well, in terms of Pitstop, I want to continue growing the shop out, growing the brand out. I've still got loads of different brands and ideas of products that I want to bring to the site, and that takes time. I can't just start on day one with all the brands that I wanted. So I'm adding. They are getting added on weekly or every couple of weeks. I would definitely like to have my own supplements. For some reason, I always want to have my own protein bar. I don't like a Pitstop protein bar. But the thing is, I don't know enough about how these things yet, in terms of how you go about and do these things.
Gardener's world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Rick said at Strom yesterday. He said
everybody who watches Wednesday's podcast will get the joke here.
Well, he said that Gardener's World on Radio 4 was his sort of inspiration for the last couple of products, because they've talked about these plants have got these properties. So he's done investigation. Nobody else has used them yet, and they're legal in the UK. So why not? And I think I found the one that he was talking about as well, Jason, last podcast.
I thought I did as well, actually, but he said no. I'll see if I can bring it up and see if it's the same one you're thinking.
I did that as well.
But yeah, definitely having a Pitstop range would be pretty cool, and continue to grow it out. I mean, the plan is that in the next 6 months, I want to have a physical shop based in Glasgow, so people can come in, and then we'll see where we'll go from there. Personally, I want to continue doing the fitness side of things that I'm doing. I don't have a huge interest in going and competing or anything like that. Kind of the plan that I'm doing with Ryan at the moment is I've just gone through a reasonable cut with him over the last 9 months. So when the gyms are opening, we're going to go into a bit of an off season, a bit of a bulk, and try and put on some muscle, and then go back into a cut and try and get rid of some of the body fat that I've got. I would love personally just to be. I want to just be fit. I want to feel comfortable going on holiday, and not having to wear a t-shirt, or just that type of thing. Just feel comfortable within myself, and
it's more for body confidence than it is for showing off.
Yeah, and I feel so much better from it as well. That's the thing, is that as soon as you stop eating the pizzas and the chocolates, and you go 3 or 4 days of back onto your diet and back onto eating well, you realise how good you feel from it, and I just love that. I just love that feeling. I love not feeling sluggish and wanting to nap all the time and feeling bloated and all that sort of stuff. So just continue doing on the fitness journey myself, and just trying to keep it going.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing as any. I think a lot of people listening, and definitely me and Jason agree with you, that's the main reason why I think anybody ever starts. They want to feel good about themselves, whether it's physically or visually. I think that's it. Other than the guys that like to lift weight and don't really care about the way they look, which is I find incredibly weird, to be honest with you. But okay.
Right, Neil, who's your favourite? I'll say personality or athlete, because athlete obviously is a bit thingy, but there's motivational people that a lot of have high stakes in. So who would be your number one athlete or personality that you like? Who's your go-to?
Well, so I'm gonna touch on Greg Plitt again. He when I started getting into his content, which was around about 2010 2011, he was all over the internet in terms of his motivational videos, his workout videos. He was at that time, he had a website where you could sign up and get his regular content, like hugely motivational, and not just in the gym. He would you would see him in his house talking about supplements, and he would build things in his house, and just motivational in terms of just getting on with it and being
I wonder
responsible.
if he was like one of the original influencers, as it were,
like Guzman.
I would say he was. I mean, he was known as the number one fitness model in the world. I think at that point he had been on the most front covers of any sports magazines ever, or something like that. So like his content was just incredible, and I should have touched on this at the very start, but when I went to Body Power, I think it was 2012, 2013. It was the first fitness expo that I'd ever been to, and Greg Plitt was at it, and he was doing a talk. And at this point, I was a big fan, and I was like, I need to go and listen to him talk, and I need to go and see what he's got to say. And I queued to go and listen to a seminar, which I think actually you can go and watch it on YouTube. It's great. He just talks about being scared, being scared of things, and just going ahead and doing them, and just being responsible for your own fears. And it was an amazing talk. And then there was a meet and greet after, and I waited for probably close to 3 or 4 hours in a queue to go meet him, and you could take your photo with him, and there were so many people that you didn't really get much time to talk to him. And I waited in the queue, and he for anybody that knows Greg Plitt, he films quite a lot of the people that he meets who have got good stories. He's got a video camera with him, and then a lot of his motivational videos that he does, he cuts these people into what they've got to say, and how Greg Plitt has helped them, and that type of thing. So I waited in the queue, and I came up to him, and I said to him when I met him, I was like, "You've literally changed my life, and your motivational has got." I told him all about my accident, and literally in front of, I mean, there must have been a couple thousand people there waiting in the queue. He just said to me, he was like, hold on a second, and he took out his video camera and he filmed me. He said, "You just need to say that again." He says, "That is amazing, like how I've helped you," and he was just blown away, and he filmed it. And like, still to this day, that was like an amazing motivational thing for me, that when I look back at that, for him to turn around to me and say, "You're doing all right, you've done well, and I'm happy to help you." And I got a picture with him, which I've got, and he signed something for me that I can't remember what it said, but I think it said "Keep kicking ass" or something like that. Greg Plitt, amazing motivation. And I still, when I'm having bad days and things like that, I think about that time, and how what I achieved. I went and achieved that myself, and it just shows you what you can do. So he's a massive part of how I started, way before even Pitstop was a thing. In terms of other people that, like Kai Green, I love seeing his content, and watching him train. He busts his ass when he goes and trains in the gym, and an amazing person on stage and things like that. I love seeing it all fun.
I've recently watched an older documentary about Kai Green, who was like first going into the Olympia. And I'd never seen it before, and it gives a different perspective because it was pre all of this motivational, philosophical side of him, which, although I like it, I do think it tends to get a bit boring.
Is that the one where he buys the like big bag of Tupperwares and he's in like a kind of rundown area of whatever city he was from or something, like a little flat
with his original coach?
Yeah.
So, and they stayed in Vegas, but they were like in a tiny little like B&B style place because they couldn't, they weren't big guys. They weren't, they were sponsored, but not in the way that people get sponsored these days. And I think it's if you look at his earlier stuff, especially the intensity that he trains with, it can be likened actually to a lot of the, everyone talks about all these hard UK training athletes, Dorian Yates, and the way that they all train now. Throughout, I think it's I believe it's a more of a UK thing than anything else. I know that everybody trains hard to get to where they are, but I think we sort of do it in a dark, dingy, disgusting dungeon sort of way. I think everybody sees it as like, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, you put your full effort in. Whereas in America, it's like aircon, heated, like the Jay Cutler way of lifting plenty of reps. Now they are all strong, they're all capable of it, but it just seems to be more of a raw, hardcore way. And it seems like that's what Kai Green did originally, and it's interesting. It's a different side to him than the one you see now.
Yeah, when you go and watch his content of him training in the gym, I mean, he trains hard,
Yeah. I've seen. Hopefully, he just competes again. That's all I want to see. It's getting a bit irritating that he keeps teasing it and not actually doing it.
Yeah.
Right, I got one, and I quite like this one. Top 3 Instagram accounts that you watch, and you can pull your phone out if you need to have a look. But the ones that the story comes up and you're like, do you know what? I'm going to check that out.
And you don't have to say us too.
No, you don't have to say us.
You're probably at the top of the list of. I got to say Strom. I mean, for me, the content he's putting out there, it's great. He's so his knowledge in the industry is incredible. To go and listen, talk to him. In terms of a business side of things as well. Now that I've had a bit of interaction with him and things like that. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. So definitely checking out Strom's Instagram account. In terms of other 2, that's a tough one. I guess. Well, I would get shouted at if I didn't say Ryan, my coach. Always likes to do a bit of talking to the camera. And I guess who else? I mean, the one person that actually I've not actually mentioned either is he's a Canadian YouTuber called Will Tennyson. Stuff.
He does things with Fuad and that now, and Sebum, I think, recently.
Yeah, well, he just did something recently with him, but he, I think he's brilliant. His content's great, very knowledgeable. Just puts a good spin on working out, cooking. Makes it funny, and I love seeing his content. I love to be honest. There's a bunch of YouTubers that I love to watch. Whether it's the cooking videos like Greg Doucette, who does a lot of like natties or not and stuff like that as well. Remington James does a lot of cooking videos. Well,
I like more plates, more dates.
Yeah.
I quite like his stuff. And
that's because he's a both got traps for days.
Well, that's what it is, mate. It's all about these traps. I in the same vein, I watch, and they're not. I mean, they're more influencers than athletes and stuff. But Christian Guzman, Max Tuning is like my number one go-to as soon as he puts anything on, just because I like him as a person. And Shirley Colker, which is another guy within that friendship circle, all working out of Alphaland in Texas. And I think it's just, I like that sort of stuff, the camaraderie between them. They've all, Christian's got Alphalete, which, you know, is probably second in the world next to Gymshark. You've got 3D, which obviously you stock the drinks. He owns that, started it, obviously part of formulating the flavors and whatever else. And then, you know, there's all manner of other businesses, and Max Tuning is the same. He's got Ever Forward, which is his brand. And then on top of that, he also started a sweet fizzy belt brand because he likes sweets. And it was like, you know, crazy. And within 12 months, he did 2 million turnover. And now he's, you know, just moving into a massive 15,000 square foot unit. And he's, you know, he's just got into HEB, Walmart, and Target. And, you know, this is a 31-year-old lad that decided that he wanted to make his own sweets. And now he's stocking something stupid, like I think it was 200,000 units he's got for the first 3-month order off Target. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you? And, you know, he handed his notice in to his job on camera 3 or 4 years ago for everybody to see. But then he's also done powerlifting competitions and recorded it and won. So it's like he puts his mind to something and he gets there. And I like to see those sort of success stories. So I can agree with.
That's quite funny, Tom, because I'm more like Bridgman, Brightman, TM Cycle, like a lot more British based.
Yeah.
Way the stuff I think it's because it's more real to me. Like it's more achievable. Because seeing somebody on this side of the water, like America, there's so many freedoms they've got over there when it comes to creating businesses, getting startups and stuff like that. It's hard to say. We're a bit more, I don't want to say white collar, but a bit more like stiff upper lip and don't want to veer from their given track, where that seeing somebody do something that's completely, to me, strange or unusual, it just that draws me to
being
it.
an entrepreneur in our society on a day-to-day is probably frowned upon more than anything.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a good job, and Neil, you might agree with this, if you've got a good job and you're doing well in your life, if you say, yeah, but I'm not enjoying it and I want to do this instead, more people will say, but yeah, you've got a good job. Why would you jeopardize that? Why, you know, I don't understand why you'd have a go at doing something different. Whereas they don't have the same sort of barriers. Like, you know, I feel like maybe there's a bit more of a, it's the land of the free, go and make your life sort of viewpoint. And I think that's just the way it is. Whereas in the UK, yeah, you know, you have a good job and you should stick to that job and stay within that career and do well. And I think sometimes it's right, don't get me wrong. And other times I think people should take a few more risks, which, you know.
I think you have to do, I've talked to both of you about this before, but you have to do something that you enjoy, like, and actually, you know, the previous businesses that I've run, I've done very well financially out of them, but it wasn't until I took a step back and realised I'm not overly enjoying my life. You know, having extra money to go and do this or that doesn't really fill the void anymore. And actually, getting up in the morning now and pushing Pitstop and being surrounded in people that are so supportive and wanting the best for you is worth so much more. You know, it's
camaraderie side of things as well.
Yeah. So
bodybuilding's not cheap, so I won't be packing my job in for some time until I make it. No, I'm still there.
Well, you know what they say, Tom: fake it till you make it.
Best thing is my boss listens to these as well, so I can't wait for him to listen to this episode. In 10 years' time, I may quit my job and become a PT. By which point, I'm sure he would have sold it and been loving life by then anyway.
Yeah, I think everybody's aim nowadays, as opposed to maybe 20, 30 years ago when our parents were there, is everybody wants to have that ability to go on holiday when they want to, not have to give 6 weeks notice when they want to have a break for a week. They just want to have that where they can make passive income. And I think that's the goal for most people, where they can make money without, like, while sleeping.
Yeah. I think passive income has become a massive thing, hasn't it? For most people.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go and set up a business where you can go and make money, where you know, you don't need to be there all the time. You know, subscription models and things like that. It's it's good. It's good.
Quite like that physique collective stuff. So we had Christian on. But I like the idea of that. And although I've never signed up for any of these sites, but I will. But like the Train by JP and the Physique Collective and all these ones that have got their own private site for the private content, because the content does look good and it looks like something that I would watch and take part in. I think the forum side of Train by JP looks good. The fact that they have the training with the pros and they talk, and about the gear more than anything. People are open to talk about it on YouTube, but they won't go into depth. They won't they won't go into full explanations on absolutely everything. Whereas on those sites they will, because it's behind a pay barrier that only serious people would pay to get that information.
But they're perfectly entitled to go and monetize it. I mean, these are the guys that have got the knowledge, and sure, you can go. There's a lot of free information out there, but people are more than entitled to go and monetize their knowledge and their skill. Yeah. And it's a very clever model. What is it, $3.99 a month for the Physique Collective thing? I mean,
$6.99.
$6.99. So what's the same price as like what you go and pay Netflix and things like that as well? And so it's
it's a knowledge base. You'd pay that. Look how much money you pay to pass a qualification. I've paid for my personal training qualification. Should be studying for it, but I'm doing podcast instead. But it's not cheap. And to get to the knowledge base that these guys are at, it's qualifications, but also experience and things that you can't always learn. Things that are in a book that has taken hours to read or to digest. And I think it is, and obviously there's a lot of trial and error in that as well. But it's commendable. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with them monetizing it, because back in the day, people would write a book and everyone would go buy it. Arnie would write a book and everyone would be like, right, I'm going to go buy that book. Well, why can't people do it in the modern way? Which, more power to them.
People, there is I guess, an entitlement that people think because everything is so easily ready, at your fingertips, you can go and find out any information. People sometimes forget that people have had to go and study and go and learn for that and go and learn that skill. So they're entitled to go and earn a living from it as well.
I think the only good thing is a lot more people, whether it be bodybuilding or whatever business they're in, have realised that when you get to, even if you get to say Rich and Strom's level, he still will be learning things every day. So you don't stop learning even when you get to near the top. You just continue and you learn new stuff. Like there'll be things that, say, Callum from the Muscle Mentors, who's very, very knowledgeable in a lot of aspects of things, will come across and go, oh, I didn't know that, and look into that and research. So you've just got to keep going. There's no stopping. You've just got to keep trying to learn new things and just keep, like with the PT stuff Tom's talking about. I was talking to somebody saying that the PT course hasn't changed in the last 20 years. So there's different things that that you need to look into to broaden your mind. And they'll be teaching you things that aren't or being
things that aren't correct.
Things that
or maybe we found new research. It's the same as anything with training. Talk to anybody that used to be a bodybuilder or enjoyed bodybuilding in the 80s and 90s, and they'll tell you that you should do this rep range. You should do chest, arms, back, shoulders, legs on separate days. You should leave a minimum 1 day in between every workout. You should do 2 hours cardio as much as you can. And, and there's all these things that they believe. Go back to the golden era. We should train 4 hours a day and, or 5 hours or 6 hours and go for a run. But now these days we've got a bit further on and we've got a bit more research. So the fact that they haven't changed the personal training, no, it's not a bodybuilding qualification, but it is still a fitness qualification where we know far more about fitness now than we did 20 years ago. So again, just because somebody's got a qualification does not qualify them as such to be a good coach. That just takes time and perseverance, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all of our questions. Is there any topics, anything at all that you've got going on at the moment? Anything you want to mention on the podcast at all?
So what you guys tell me a wee bit about what your journey is in terms of what you're looking to do over the next year. I know, Tom, you're looking to compete. Jason, have you got plans to do anything like that?
Well, maybe, but for the next 2-3 years is going to be a gaining phase for me. It's just going to, because as you can see, still quite a skinny person. So it's just going to be trying to pack on as much muscle as I can in that 2-year period. And obviously having mini cuts in between that, just to kind of tail off any fat gain. And just see how I look. If I look all right in 2 years' time, even like at peak bulk, and I think, yeah, I'll give that a shot. I'm not going to go for a pro card. Like that's beyond me at this stage. But it's almost like I want to test my body, see how it reacts to something like a prep, like a proper one. Like obviously I've been cutting since like August, but it's been not as stringent. I will say, sorry, William. As probably would have been for the likes of with Tom on his plan with Jeff for the next 25 weeks. Yeah. Which Tom will probably hate Jeff for a lot of that, but then by the end he'll see the progress he's made. So for me, it's just mainly keep consistent in the gym, progress things outside of the gym, whether it be the podcast or my work and working with you, Neil, and Pitstop, and just trying to enjoy my 30s, because my 20s went by so quickly and I was just working the whole time. I didn't really enjoy the last 10 years, I'll say that.
Yeah, I can understand that. For me, the next 12 months, I would like to, I want to compete. I've got this show in 25 weeks time. There's some doubts in terms of whether the loose skin I got left over from how big I was before will sort of come back and do what it needs to do, but I'm still going to compete regardless. You know, if I'm in shape but I've got loose skin, then fuck it, don't care. I'm going to go and stand there and I'm going to do what I like. And if I enjoy it and I think it's what I want to carry on doing for longer, then I'll go and have the operation and I'll have the bit sorted out I need to, but I won't know for a while. I've been leaner and I've looked better than I am right now. This is probably one of my leaner at the bigger sizes I've been, but I have been better previously in terms of weight and leniency. So, and I didn't have as much loose skin as I've got now, so I've got to sort of see how that goes. But again, nobody knows. I've never been lean. I've always been quite a chunky guy. So for me, it's going to be different. I want to push this podcast, honestly. I think we've got a good thing going. We've managed to get some fucking wild guests on so far with even more to come. I can only imagine that doors will open as we see more and speak to more. I'd like to, honestly, as much as I love the hobby and I want to monetize it in some way moving forward so that I can do more of it or even just pay for the cost, because it's unbelievable, especially when you eat as much food as I do. But I'd like to be able to go to these expos and shows and stuff, and you know, for people to know who me and Jason are, to say, oh fucking hell, you know, these are the guys from the Training Wheels podcast, and that would be great. I know we've spoken to a lot of people, and people have said, oh, come down, and I know that they'll have conversations with us because they've been on the podcast in terms of the guests, but it's actually getting to the point where, you know, we've got a couple of thousand listeners that are interested in what we've got to say. We have got people just coming up to have a chat. You know, people are getting in touch with us because they want to be on our podcast, not the other way around. And, you know, it's a big ask. It's something that might take 5 years to get to, something that it might pick up in a couple of weeks. There's a lot more effort, money, time and things we've got to spend on it. But that's, for me, the next 12 months is what I want to persevere and push with. Obviously, the competing for me is number one, because this is the first time I've sort of made a decision in my head, like, there's no going back. I'm doing this now. There's another show 2 weeks after the first time as well that I'm going to do as well. So that, you know, if I come in and there's anything off, then I can fix those and tweak it for the following show, or just gives me another opportunity to get on the stage and get a bit more experience. And then I can have not an off season, but like a gaining phase after October and sort of push it that way. But, you know, I've committed myself to 25 weeks of things are going to open up, and I'm not going to be going for meals. I'm not going to be going for drinks. I don't drink very much anyway, but, you know, it's still nice. I still enjoy the feeling of, you know, sitting outside of a pub when it's warm outside and, you know, everyone's having a chat. I I won't be doing those things. I still spend time with my kids and enjoy life, but it won't be in the same way that it could have been if I haven't done that. So I want to make sure that I put 1,000,000% in and I get what I want. And, I'd be lying if I said I don't want to win. I want to do that and prove to myself and everybody else that follows me as well. It's crazy because I never thought I'd get messages from people that say, well done, or, your story is inspirational. I've had people message the past couple of weeks, I know Jason has as well, saying, I think it's really good what you're doing with the podcast. It's nice to see that you can speak to these people and do these things. And all it took was, to ask. We never thought we would be able to.
Yeah. I just thought of something there. The one thing I will be trying to do in the next 12 months is get a couple of t-shirts out with the funny hashtags that I do. Because I think that's something that's just going to, even if I make no money from that, it's just going to be funny having something like hashtag that on it. It's just like, what does that mean?
Hashtag Shug approved.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll even do a little segment on the Instagram reels or something with sugar approved products.
Yeah. Listen, I love it. I love the fact that, I've only really been in this industry and started Pitstop's only been going for 12 weeks, 3 months. Really got loads of friends, and it's amazing to be part of your guys' journey, but all the other coaches that are getting into it, and people that are getting ready to compete that I didn't know before, and to be part of that, I love it. It's good times ahead for sure.
I might wear some pit stop trunks. You never know.
I was looking at posing trunks today, physique ones, because that's kind of the physique.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wish I could wear those.
40 quid. 40 quid for board shorts. It's like, what?
Alpha League do some nice ones.
Yeah, that's probably about the same price.
Yeah, but I feel like the quality of the Alpha League stuff's pretty good. Same as Gymshark. I think the quality and things are good at those. But yeah, there's far more that I want to achieve, but I'm trying to limit myself on what I'm actually pushing for. So for me, I just want to get on that stage and do the very best that I can and push the podcast. I've got to finish my qualifications as well. Got a bit of time off over Easter, so I'm going to push and try and get all the coursework done so I can get it out of the way and done, because I have this discussion quite often with a lot of people, and I have a lot of knowledge in terms of training for people that want to lose weight, that want to, just a general lifestyle client. So for me, I wouldn't want to train someone to go to a bodybuilding show because I've never done it. Don't understand. Yeah. I know it in theory, but I've never done it in practice. So why would I go and tell someone how or what to do to get lean and shredded when I've never been there myself? However, somebody came to me and they needed to lose weight. That's a completely different thing, because I've done all the fucking wrong stuff and I've done the right stuff and I know the difference. I lost 2 stone drinking Slim Fast shakes for 3 months, and then I put 3 stone back on. I ate 1,200 calories for 12 months straight, every day, no cheat meals, no nothing. And I trained 7 days a week, 2 hours a day. And it's not healthy. Yes, I lost a load of weight, but then I got a load of fucking saggy bits left after.
That's a big thing for me that I see a lot of people. Obviously, I've never had that high weight issue, but just from sheer genetics.
Yeah.
But the amount of people go into the slim fast or the slimming world, and I think it's demonizing certain things and also not giving the right information. It's giving the information that will make them the most money, rather than the information that will help people in the long run and maintain what they've got planned to maintain.
It's short-term gains.
Yeah.
I think like what you guys are doing and putting the information out there and doing a journey on what you're achieving is amazing. And like the message that you put across from the people that are watching that don't are going through these things that you've been through in the past, but don't know how to get out of that rut or what's the right thing to do. It's a good message for sure.
Well, we've said before, and we'll definitely get you back, and we've got some ideas on things that we're going to do on the podcast and again on the Instagram as well. And we're looking forward to that, definitely. And for anyone that's listened to the podcast that doesn't follow the Instagram, it's all in the descriptions and whatnot, and definitely check it out, because there's more content on there to be had. and to be digested, and there will be more moving forward, whether it's lives or reels or even, Instagram TV stuff. That's definitely going to be pushed forward, moving on anyway. So
awesome.
We've appreciated having you on, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I definitely want to come back and do some cooking videos and stuff.
And hopefully Neil will get a workout in the next month and a half or something when the gyms open up here. Yeah. Obviously, Tom will have 2 more weeks in the gym than we'll have, but
I haven't really been out. Let's be serious. I've managed to carry on the whole way through.
I would like, when things are back to normal, I'd definitely like to come down south for a weekend and meet some people that I've been talking to.
I'm going down for FitX. Obviously, Tom's kind of looking into if he'll be available to come across. And I'm actually, when I'm down there, I'm actually going to try and train with my coach as well over at the grow room, which is quite like 45 minutes-ish, probably to an hour from Liverpool. So
no, it's not.
Yeah, we'll be.
It's about an hour away from where I am the other way.
So still.
Yeah, but if I'm going to go to FitX, as long as it's still on, obviously, a couple of people locally will probably come with me as well. But definitely, obviously, be with you guys for sure.
Yeah,
definitely if you come, Neil, and Jason.
We're
over in New, but it is.
I was just thinking, Nathan Diasha, is he from Newcastle or Liverpool?
Liverpool.
So his gym must be in Liverpool. So maybe try and get a workout there if it's still.
We'll go see Nick Capel. Oh, I love that face. When anyone listening wouldn't see that. Yeah, we'll definitely get something done. I think this year would be good for us all to meet. Next year, hopefully, you've got stands on the exhibitions and we can come down and help.
At least SFM, which is obviously the smaller expo, but at least SFM probably be a good starter one for you, Neil.
Yeah, that's something I'll look at.
Kind of thing.
Well, we know we might have a podcast live at one of these shows. You never know. God's the limit.
No,
next 12 months are going to be a lot of fun.
Aye.
Okay then, guys. Well, it's been a blast. I'm going to go and do my pit stop order review now, as I've just had it for today. So I'm going to go and open that up and get that ready.
Nice. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much.
See you later.
See you later.